Good morning, grade 7 students. In this session, we're going to take a quick revision about plants. This session is going to be dedicated for plants revision. We're going to make an overall revision about the plants chapter that we have covered before in the last 3 to 4 weeks. And this week, week 33, we're going to make quick revision for the plants, for the green plants. What are the green plants? What do they do? What are the nutritive needs for the green plants? What do the green plants need in order to grow? During this session, I'm going to ask some questions. These questions, sure, they are bonus point questions. So those who answer, sure, by raising the hand and not answering without taking the permission, they will have bonus points for the semester. And here we go. So first of all, what are the green plants? Green plants, the definition that was in the quiz. Some of you, they said the green plants, they are the autotroph and they stop. Or some of you, they said the green plants, they are the chlorophyll plants only. So you have to say they are the green plant, they are the chlorophyll plants, and you have to add that contain the green pigment, which is the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll, which is the pigment that absorbs the sunlight. This is the definition of green plants. They are plants, they contain the green chlorophyll, or they are the chlorophyllic plants, they contain the chlorophyll, or they are the autotroph that contain the chlorophyll. What is the chlorophyll? It's the pigment in the green plant that absorbs sunlight. So this is the definition of the green plants. As you know, green plants, they have four important nutritive needs. We're not going to go back to the experiments and do the analysis and the variable factor and so on. But I'm going to talk about this in specific in this slide. So the green plants, they need four important nutritive needs. The first one is water. So with water, the green plants, they can grow tall and they can grow green and they have normal growth. However, without water, you can wither and finally will die. Second one is the mineral salts. Mineral salts, they are important for the growth of the green plants. For example, if we use distilled water, who can tell me what is the difference between the distilled water and, for example, the tap water, for example, or for
Can
example,
I?
the mineral water? Who
Can
can
I?
give me the example, please? Please, Ali, you have to raise your hand, please. You raise your hand before you speak. Yes, Ali.
Yes, the
Yes.
normal water,
Yes.
it contains mineral salts
Very
inside of
good.
it,
While
while the while the distilled water, it's only H2O. It doesn't contain anything.
it doesn't contain mineral salts. Very good, yeah, Ali. So mineral water, as Ali said, or the tap water, يعني مية الحنفية, tap water, or the mineral water, all of them they contain mineral salts. في قلبهم mineral salts like nitrogen, like phosphorus, like sodium, and others. However, distilled water, they lack the mineral salts. They do not contain mineral salts. So this is the big difference between the mineral water and the distilled water. Now, I'm going to ask a question. What are the fertilizers? What do the fertilizers provide the plant with? If I said fertilizers, what does this mean? Yes, Razan, what do you think?
Mineral salts.
Yes, whenever you said the fertilizers, meaning that they are a good source of mineral salts. Very good, Razan. So the fertilizers, they provide the plant with mineral salts. They give the plant mineral salts. This is the importance of the fertilizers. Zahra, do you have a question or you want to answer?
No, I want to.
Yalla, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. Maybe next question. So, first two nutritive needs, they are water, and the second, it was the mineral salt. Third one, it was the carbon dioxide, CO2. CO2 is one of the reactants of which reaction? Who can tell me? Carbon dioxide is one of the reactants of which reaction? Who can tell me this? Carbon dioxide is a reactant in which reaction? In which equation?
Photosynthesis.
Raising
In
your hand,
photosynthesis.
raising your hand, yeah, Ali. Without permission, you are not allowed to speak. Raising your hand. I need other than Ali Basma, other than Razan Sultani. Others, wake up. Good morning. So, others, let's move now to Larissa Shab. What do you think? Carbon dioxide is one of the reactants of which reaction?
Yes, what did you say?
I said carbon dioxide is one of the reactants of a special reaction. Do you know what is this reaction? Yes.
I didn't understand the question.
Carbon dioxide is one of the reactants of a specific reaction. What do we call this reaction? Who can tell me this? Yes, Hassan Ijradi.
Yes,
Which
we call
reaction,
it
ya Hassan?
photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. Very good. So carbon dioxide is one of the reactants of the photosynthesis reaction. Very good. Thank you, Hassan. Wait a minute. Carbon dioxide. How can we determine that we have carbon dioxide? Hamad Fawaz, can you tell me how can we identify the presence of carbon dioxide? Yes, Muhammad. How can we identify that we have carbon dioxide? How can we identify the presence of carbon dioxide? Yes, Leia Ghraib, what do you think? Carbon dioxide. How can we know that this reaction contains carbon dioxide? How can we identify the presence of carbon dioxide? Yes, Leia? Great. Yes, Huda, what do you think? How can we identify the presence of carbon dioxide?
With the lime water test,
Very good. With the lime water test, can you tell me the aspects whenever we have carbon dioxide or in the absence of carbon dioxide?
with the presence of the carbon dioxide, it
Yes.
burns in a Milky Way or
Turbid. Yes.
turbid.
Very good.
In the absence, it stays clear.
Very good, very good, Yehuda. So in the presence of carbon dioxide, lime water becomes turbid or becomes cloudy or milky. All of them, they have the same meaning. However, in the absence of carbon dioxide, the lime water stays clear without any differences in the color. It stays clear or transparent. Very good, thank you. So thank you for those who are participating in the session, and you will see your bonus points over the quizzes or the overall grade at the end of the semester. Thank you all. Let's move now to the fourth important element or nutritive need, which is the light. So in the presence of light, the plants, they grow normally and they have normal growth. However, in the absence of light, there is no normal growth. There is abnormal growth for the green plants. So these are the four important nutritive needs for the growth of green plants. Let's now move to this experiment. Green plants and water. Observe the following performed experiment, then answer the following questions. We have three tubes, A, B, and C. Taline Zan, good morning.
Good morning.
So Taline, what is the variable factor between the tubes A and B? What is the variable factor between the tubes A and B?
On the plant,
The
plant.
The plant. So in tube B, we have a plant. In tube A, there is no plant. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here, tube A contains no plant. In tube B, it contains a plant. Thank you. Moving now to tubes B and C. What is the variable factor between the tubes B and C? Asil Haidar, good morning. Okay, Larissa, good morning, Larissa.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, tubes B and C, Larissa. What is the variable factor between these two tubes?
The roots.
The roots, very good. So in tube B, we have roots. In tube C, no roots. Thank you, Larissa. So in tubes A, B, and C, in tube A, we don't have even a plant. So in tube A, it has an important role. What do you think, Zahra? What do we say about the tube A? It's used to compare and explain the results. What do we call this tube, Zahra? It has a special name. Yes. Tube A, what do we call it? It has a special name. It's used to compare and explain the results. What do we call it?
I don't know.
You should. You should. Let's move to others. Thank you. Pay attention, Zahra, in order to know what is the role of this. Let's move now.
Okay.
I need new participants here. Those who are in silent mode, your mark or your bonus points will stay also in silent mode, by the way. I need new volunteers. Ali Khalifi, good morning. Silent mode, Ali Khalifi, good morning. Good morning. Fatima Badah, good morning, Fatima.
Good morning.
What do you think about the tube A? Tube A, it's a tube that is used to compare and explain the results. What do we call the tube A?
I didn't hear you well. Can you ask the question?
What do we call the tube A? Tube A, it's a tube that you use to compare and explain the results. What do we call it? Yes, Hassan, do you know this?
Iodine.
Tube. What do we call the tube? What is iodine? What do we call the tube? Let's move to Razan.
Can
What do you
I
think,
say?
Razan?
Yes, it is the control tube.
Thank you very much. It's the control tube. Always whenever we ask about an experiment or about a tube, what is the role? Always it will be a control tube. Why? Because this tube contains only clay and water. It doesn't contain a plant or a plant without roots. So it's called a control tube. It's used to compare and explain the results. So tube A, we have no plant. We have only clay and water. 2 days later, the level of water stayed the same. However, in tube B, we have a plant that contains stem and roots. It's a normal plant. 2 days later, the level of water drops to a lower level. Ali Basma, if I ask you, what can you conclude from the experiment in tube B? Whenever we have the plant, the level of water, it decreases. What can you conclude? Yes, Ali Basma. Ali Basma.
Yes.
Yes. So, what do you say about the conclusion in tube B? Whenever we have the plant, the level of water, it drops, it decreases. So, what can you say about what does the plant
The
do?
plant, the plant
Absorbs?
absorbs the water.
Very good. The plant absorbs the water. Here in tube A, no plant, level of water, it stays the same. When we have the plant, the level of water decreases, so the plant absorbs the water. However, in tube C, the level of water, it stayed the same in the plant lacking the roots. So which part of the plant absorb the water? It's the roots. So we said that it's the roots. Now we know that the roots of the plant consist of two parts, the root cap and the root hairs. So root cap and root hairs, they are very important. Which part of these exactly? We said before that is the root hairs. Why? Because in plant one, where the root hairs and the root cap, both of them they are in water, the plant grows normally. However, when the root hairs are in oil and the root cap in water, it withers and dies. So this means that the root cap has no role in the absorption of water. However, it's the root hairs. So the root hairs in the plant, they absorb the water. So this is the analysis. Who can tell me what is the difference between analyze and interpret? This is your big problem. Taline, good morning, Taline. Again and again, Taline. Taline, what's the difference between analyze and interpret? Can you tell me? Taline Zan, you hear me?
Can I see it?
Taline Zan, can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, yes.
Yes. What's the difference between analyze and interpret?
Interrupt, discuss,
Interpret, not interrupt. Interpret.
inter
What's the difference between analyze and interpret? Can you tell me this? This is your big problem during the quizzes. So pay attention, Taline, in order to know the difference between these two. Yes, Lin Shibani, what's the difference between interpret and analyze?
Analyze means only the result.
Okay.
While interpret means analyze past indication.
Very good. So analysis, it's only analysis. It's analyze, it's only the analysis. So for example, after dipping the root hairs and the root cap in water, the green plants grows. While after dipping the root hairs in oil and the root cap in water, the green plant withers and dies. This is analysis. If I want to move to interpret, I have to add indication. And the indication is specific. So this indicates that the roots are, for example, the roots helps in the absorption of water in the experiment in tube B, for example. This is the difference between analyze and interpret. Analysis, you have to do analyze, explain the experiment like I did in the whole experiments and in every worksheet. We have analyze or we have interpret. However, if I said interpret, we have to add indication, and this indication should be specific for the experiment. However, the conclusion will be in general. While if I said interpret and you add for this a conclusion from your side, this means that you add something that is not required and you are going to lose marks for this. Some of you, they did this. They added some information. It doesn't work like this. Biology is not like the science. Science, you wrote all the information you know. Biology, you have to be specific for the question. If I said analyze, you did analysis. If I said interpret, you have to do interpret. We don't have to add additional information. Any additional information, it doesn't give you extra points unless if I ask you explain. This is the only verb where you can add any acquired knowledge. You can add information from your side. But analyze or interpret, you have to be specific and you don't have to add any additional information or you don't have any acquired knowledge. So you have to pay attention for this. And next week we are going to focus on these, analyze and interpret. Transpiration. We said that the plant absorbs the water at the level of the roots. And then the water will travel up, go upward to the stem, and then to the leaf. We have a process where the plant loses water vapor. This is called transpiration. This water vapor is going to be lost where? At the level of the stomata, that are the small openings at the underside of the leaves. So what is transpiration? It's the loss of water vapor through some plant organs. What are these organs? Let's see. We have two plants, A and B. Zahra Dia, what is the variable factor between the plants A and B? Always the variable factor, it's before the results. Yeah, I don't have to look to the results. I have to look only to the conditions. This is the variable factor. Yes, Zahra?
The variable factor is the water droplet.
Shifted. I said you have to look to the conditions and not to the results. The conditions. Ignore the results. Imagine that these results are not found. Only look at the conditions. Meaning that you have to look at the figures here. What is the variable factor, Zahra, between the two figures? The plant here, it has what? What does it have here? Here.
Leaf.
What the?
Leaf.
Yes. So what's the variable factor?
The variable factor are the leaf.
Excellent, that's it. So always the variable factor, it's before the results. It's in the conditions. This is the variable factor, Zahra. So the variable factor, one plant has a leaf and the other, it lacks the leaf. The one that has the leaf and the other that lacks the leaf, both are covered by a plastic bag. So water droplets are formed on the inner wall of the plastic bag covering plant A. So we have water droplets. However, no water droplets are formed of the plastic bag covering plant B. So what is responsible for the formation of the water droplets? They are the leaves. So the leaves, they are the site where transpiration occurs. So during transpiration, the green plants, they release what? Water vapor from their leaves. So you have to keep in mind whenever we say autotroph, they are the green plants, they are the chlorophyll plants. By the way, some of you, they write the definition of the green plants. Green plants equal chlorophyll plants. This is not the definition. This is a simple explanation. But you have to say the green plant, they are the chlorophyll plant that contain the chlorophyll. However, the heterotroph, they are the non-green plant. They lack the chlorophyll. They are called non-chlorophyll plants. Photosynthesis. We said that photosynthesis is important for the production of the food for the plants. We said that photosynthesis occurs during day. Why? Because it needs sunlight. So it needs sunlight in order to happen, since it needs the energy from the sunlight. Here, during photosynthesis, we have the production of organic matter that we said before. It's the sugar that is stored in the form of what? This sugar is stored in the form of what? This is the organic matter. Yes, who can tell me? Yes, I need a new hands. Some of you, they didn't participate yet here. Hassan Saleh, good morning.
Good morning, Ustaz.
So the plant, it stores the sugar in what form? Can you tell us? The plant, it stores the sugar in what form?
The plant?
Yes, don't look on the copybook. You have to study this.
Okay.
The plant stores the sugar in the form of what? Yes, ya Hassan.
The mineral salt?
No, sure no. It stores the sugar in the form of starch. So you have to study this, ya Hassan. You don't have to read it, you have to study it. So the plant, it stores the sugar in the form of starch. So here,
Yes.
they get mineral salts and they get the water in order to produce organic matter, which is the sugar that's stored in the form of starch. So here we have two plants, one plant in darkness and one plant in light. So we boil each leaf for a few minutes. Boiling the water, it kills the leaf. And pay attention, In the quiz, I ask you the role of the warm alcohol. You tell me that it kills the leaf. No, the boiling water kills the leaf. However, we then dip each leaf in warm alcohol. Warm alcohol, it has the role of removing the green color of the leaf. So the warm alcohol has the role in the removal of the green color. It removes the green color of the leaf. So here we have two roles. Boiling water, it kills the leaf. Dipping them in hot alcohol, it removes its green color. Then we dip them in water. After this, we move to adding iodine solution. What is the role of the iodine test? I need a new hands here. Some of you, they didn't participate yet. Leah Ghraib, can you hear me?
Yes,
Good morning.
good morning.
What is the role of the iodine test, ya Leah?
It is to it is to see if we have starch.
If we have starch, what will be the color?
Blue.
Dark blue. Very good. So iodine solution is done to identify the presence of starch. If we have starch, the color will be blue black, or as I told you before, it will be dark blue color. Okay? Dark blue. Which is يعني أزرق غامق, dark blue. However, if we don't have starch, the color will remain brown or orange or yellow in color. In the quiz, I gave you a piece of potato. I told you that we did iodine test. Then I asked you, why did we do the iodine test? Some of you, they told me we did the iodine test in order to see if it has a green color. What does this mean? Iodine solution is done to identify the presence of starch. So here, if we have starch, dark blue color appears. You did this in grade 6, I think, in grade 5. You use, for example, bread, banana, potato, and you used to do iodine test. If we have starch, it will give dark blue color. If there is no starch, no dark blue color. Wait a minute. If we have dark blue, what does this mean? This means that we have starch. So what does this mean? This means that the plant undergoes photosynthesis. It produces a starch, which is the food that is produced in the photosynthesis. So the plant, it makes its own food by the photosynthesis process. What does the photo means? Photo doesn't mean picture or image or Instagram or Facebook. Photo, it means light. Synthesis, putting together. Putting what? We will see. You know that the photosynthesis, it takes place in the leaves of the plant. Photosynthesis occurs only in the chlorophyll plant. Chlorophyll plants, they have the chlorophyll. So the chlorophyll, it gets the energy from the sunlight. It needs energy. So this energy from the sunlight, it helps to combine, to mix, to put together. This is the synthesis. Put together what? Carbon dioxide and water. Yani putting together CO2, carbon dioxide, and water, H2O, to produce the sugar. We said the sugar is stored in what form? In the form of starch. That's why we will have dark blue color with the iodine test. So you have to know this. So here, process of photosynthesis, the different step. The light will be trapped by the chlorophyll. Then the energy will start the food making process. The energy from where? From the sunlight. So this is why the plant should undergo photosynthesis during day only, since it needs the sunlight energy. The leaf take in carbon dioxide. Since we said that the leaf, it needs carbon dioxide. So it takes carbon dioxide from the air and it takes the water from the soil. It will mix these two together, carbon dioxide plus water. This is the synthesis to make the food, which is a kind of sugar. This food is stored in the form of starch. So oxygen is considered as one of the products. It doesn't need the oxygen, the plant. It gives us as waste the oxygen. but we as human, we need this oxygen. So photosynthesis, as I said, it takes place only in light, and the sugar is stored, ya Hassan, into form of starch, will stored for later use. So the sugar is stored in form of starch. Here's the experiment. I told you, interpret this experiment. We have a leaf from the plant. It's green, but we only cover a part of the plant. This is the part that is covered by a black cover. So covering it by this black cover will prevent the sunlight from reaching to the plant. So it prevents the sunlight to reach the plant. Then we did iodine test for this. This is the tested for starch. Which test? Iodine test. So all the green part, which is here and here, it gives dark blue color. This means the presence of starch. However, in the part that was not covered, it gives a yellow color. So this is the analysis. After covering a part of the plant, which is green, only the part which is not covered, it shows dark blue color with iodine test. While the part that was covered by the black cover, it shows the yellow color with the iodine test. What does this indicate? This indicates that the starch was produced in the part exposed to sunlight, while it's not produced in the part that was covered by the black paper. This is the interpret. So I did interpret, analyze, that's indication. If I said, what can you conclude? Conclusion should be, in general, light is important for the production of starch. No, we can make it a little bit more, for example, beautiful. We can say that light is important for photosynthesis. That is the conclusion, which is in general. So here the equation. You have to study this equation. I told you this is called the word equation. Why do we call it word equation? Because it's written in words. Carbon dioxide plus water. What do you call them? They are called reactants. You took this in chemistry, I think. They are called the reactants. So carbon dioxide and water will give, in the presence of light energy, this is very important, will give sugar and oxygen. What do we call this sugar and oxygen? They are called the products. So always to the right of the arrow, they are called the products. Where is the right of the arrow? The right is here. This is called the products. However, to the left of the arrow, your left is called the reactants. So this is the reaction of the photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of light energy. We have to write it over the arrow here. This is the arrow meaning that it gives. So the arrow means gives or produces. Gives sugar plus oxygen. And this is the photosynthesis reaction that you have to study.